I'll show you in this video how to create the base for your controller. So go ahead and click File, New, drop down your menus, select Metric, and then under Part, Standard Millimeter. Double click that to get to a blank screen. Next, you'll select the Start 2D Sketch tool, and you'll select the top or XZ plane. Notice in the top right corner it says top, and you can rotate this. This is where we'll begin to construct the design of our controller. I've pre-made one already for you, just to give you an example. So this is my controller design that I've made. I've added dimensions and made sure everything looked nice, neat, and symmetrical. Once you're complete with this, your first sketch, you'll click Finish Sketch, and then use the Extrude tool. Now, one way that you might like to do this is a bit different than other methods, is you create the top as the lid. So we only want the lid to be about 3 millimeters thick. And click OK. At this point, we want to click Start Sketch again and create a sketch on the top surface. I'm going to rotate over. We need to create the holes for the joysticks to stick through. I'll use the Dimension Circle tool, and I'll place in a diameter circle of 26. Add dimensions using the Dimension tool between the points, center points of the circles, and place it wherever you want them to go. On my design, I'm going to have them about 60 millimeters apart, and from the center point to here, I want that to be 30. That'll place them in the middle, and from there to here, and the height, I'll make that 5, and that kind of places it nice and neat for my design. To double check that it's going to actually fit, I can then create a rectangle. So we're going to go 2-point center. I'm going to turn on this menu option here, which is Construction. So notice it's selected. And I'm going to go inside there, and I'm going to give it a size. So 28 for the width. Hit the Tab key, and I'm going to select the height of 36. That's going to basically show me, I'm going to make another one. So 28 for the width, Tab, 36 for the height. That's going to show me where basically my joystick part will go. So I know it's going to fit onto my design. Select Finish Sketch, Extrude, select your 2 circles, and change the option to Cut. If it doesn't go down, you can change your options here, up or down, and I need it to go through 3 millimeters. That's the top of my joystick. I'm going to save this now. I'm going to save it into my OneDrive. So here I'm going to go down and select OneDrive Catholic Education, and I organize mine into however I want it to look. So for me, I'm going to call that one Controller Lid. Next, we need to make the bottom. To make the bottom, we're going to go File, New, and under Metric, we're going to go down to Assembly and select Standard Millimeter .iam. That's going to make an assembly. Okay, we're going to save that file. I'm going to call this one Controller Assembly. Now we're going to place. We're going to load into this our joystick controller, the lid. Okay, it's going to ask me what I want to do. I'm going to click to place it. Alright, hit Escape so that we don't add any more into it. And now what we're going to do is create a new file underneath this one, which is going to be the base. So the top left corner, select Create. Change this one to Controller Base. Change the template here to Metric Standard Millimeter .ia, this one here. So it's a single piece, single block, Standard Millimeter .ipt. File location, make sure you select that as wherever you stored the rest of your parts. Click Save, and go ahead and click Create. Next, we're going to go Start 2D Sketch, just like you've done in the past. And at this stage, I'm going to start by just creating it in space. So I'm going to select one of these surfaces, probably the XZ plane again. I'm going to rotate my screen. You notice it's off in space over here. That's completely fine. What I'm going to do now is make my part that looks just like this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the shape using the project geometry tool. So project, and I'm going to select all my outside shapes here. I'll select finish, and then I'm going to go extrude. So what this is going to let me do now is it's going to let me create basically the body of my work. Now, if this didn't work, you could, I'm going to go undo and take you back a couple steps. So this is back to, not having anything yet. Let me go forwards one. All right. So I could go create sketch, and instead of selecting these ones, I could select the bottom of this, right? And rotate my view, and this will let me make the controller from the top down. So project, select this, click finish, and let's extrude this shape, including all the pieces. You see here, it's going to make the bottom of my controller. Let's change that to approximately, so you got to think about the height, the thickness, so probably about 40 will be good enough. Could maybe make it 50, but 40 might work fine. In fact, if we make it 47, that'll give a total thickness of 50. So we just got to really think about how big we want it. Let's try 37. That looks a bit better proportionally. Click OK. So what we've done now is we've created, if I click return, you'll see I've created basically a block underneath my piece. So if I want to edit that, again, I'm going to double click that. So now I'm back into editing my base. I'm now going to use my shell tool, and I'm going to select my work, and I'm going to hollow it out to 3 millimeters thick. So you can see now I've got a hollow base inside my work. Click the sketch tool, and let's sketch in the bottom here. Okay, and we're going to use our project geometry tool. We're going to project this circle and this circle. Hit escape. We're going to click our two circles. We're going to change them to construction lines. So now we know basically where the joystick's meant to come out. At this stage, you need to reference a drawing. If you look at this drawing here, this is actually the joystick thumb controller, and we need to have some points that are 20 millimeters apart and 26 millimeters high around this work with a hole that's about 2.5 millimeters in size. So let's place those on. So let's look back at our inventor work here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a circle here, and I'm going to make that a little bit larger. I'm going to make that one about 6 mil thick. And I'm going to go and place another one. So 6. Okay, and we need to add some dimensions. So between these two, it needs to be, so remember, between these two circles here, it needs to be 20. And the height between the circles needs to be 26. Okay, and we need to start lining these up. So we can go between this point and this point. That should be 26 divided by 2. And we can repeat this one here. Notice it's starting to look a little nicer. In between these 2 points, that needs to be 20 divided by 2. So you see, that's going to be the pillars that's going to hold up our controller. So we'll go finish sketch, extrude, and we'll select these 4 points here. And now we got to figure out how high up, if you look at this from this view, do they need to come up to hold our joystick. Okay, so these need to be 7 millimeters less than the thickness of your base. Okay, so my base was 37, so I'm going to make this one 30 millimeters and click OK. That's going to let me stick the joystick controller on top of that and screw it into these little pillars. Now, in order to copy them to the other side, there's a little trick you can do, and it's called creating a plane. So plane, mid-plane, and we're going to select the left of our controller and the right of our controller. And notice when I do that, it creates this little plane here. Now we're going to go and select the mirror tool. In features, I'm going to select that, in the mirror plane, that, and select OK. And notice it pops on the other side. Okay, I'm going to click return now, and you'll see, here's my controller. And if I go to my view tab, and I change that to wireframe with hidden edges, or even let's go to shade with hidden edges, you can kind of see my joysticks should sit inside that box and pop through the hole. Now, in order for this lid here to pop on nicely onto the base, currently it can just slide around. So we need to make it so that it can't slide around. We're going to double click our controller lid on the left here to edit the lid. We're going to rotate our view to the bottom. We're going to create a sketch on the bottom. Click project geometry to select that. And then we're going to select the offset tool, select our outer edge and bring it in. And we're going to type in 3 because that's the thickness of my work of the edge walls. Click finish sketch, extrude, and select that. And we want to make that one about 2 millimeters thick. Select OK. All right. What we'll do now is go and click on our shell tool. And we're going to select. Let's see. Actually, we need to go sketch. Click the surface again. We're going to go and project that shape one more time. Offset. Select the outer edge. We're going to go in 3 millimeters again. We'll probably go in 2. Click OK. Finish sketch. And we're going to extrude. And we're going to cut this in. So we're going to go cut. And we're going to go back 3 millimeters. So we want to go 2. Select OK. So now you see this little lip. We'll keep this into the box. So click save. And let's close out of that. And let's look back at our box. So here's our box. If we want to check that everything looks really good, what we can do is go to, we need to be able to slice this. Let's have a look how we can do that. So let's go to assemble, view, visual style. Let's turn on wireframe. So you can see this is going to fit into our box and it's complete. At this stage, the only thing left to do now is to actually, let me close out these boxes. We're going to save our file, click OK, and we're going to 3D print this.